last week we had a couple of videos where I mentioned basically it being our last opportunity for a little while for a great one, red deer. I was going on a little trip for Thanksgiving, and then of course IRL hunting season started on Saturday, and once again we find ourselves in a position where it's essentially our last opportunity to chase red deer for a while. As you guys know, the early access kind of creator event for the new map is starting tomorrow, and as I mentioned in yesterday's video, we're going to have a video kind of earlier in the day, and then pretty much from there on we're going to be starting streams in that early access period, I would say for as long as that runs, and we'll kind of just go from there. But we're back out here on Quattro, and the spawns have been weird. I mean, I feel like we've shot a lot of red deer without seeing so much as a troll level 9, let alone an actual diamond. So we're going to try the late zones again. It worked last time, and we'll see if maybe that's the answer. Thank goodness. At least some of the later zones are in daylight, because there's no way that I would have spotted this red deer back here. It's just way out of the way back in the trees. Like normally, the areas that red deer drink on that side of this particular lake is, you know, up front here, kind of near the water, but he was, I don't know, easily kind of 40-50 meters back into the trees and hidden. And I don't know that I would have seen him actually if it was dark, so nice to at least get one from this lake. We're starting out, by the way, in the kind of southeast area around the mountain with all these small lakes, and hopefully we can clear some pressure and then move up to the northern half of the map. And actually, the last time that we were out here, we kind of were adapting our setup and moving tripods and tents around, so it'll be kind of interesting to see, I think, just how that affects our evening hunt. This is just becoming a trend here as well. Every time we start at these smaller lakes, we'll shoot a stag well after the start of the even late zones, and then we go to claim it and another one comes trotting in, and it's happened yet again. None of those stags, by the way, have been very big. I think all 4s and 5s, but again, good to kind of get multiple. I still can't imagine why, like, it's, you know, 10 minutes till 6 p.m. Why they're only getting into the zone now, I have no idea, but at least it, for some reason, seems to often be in the direction we're already running. In the meantime, we had our first level 5 there, which we just missed out on a hard shot from, and our second 5, which I believe would be a little bit bigger. At 143, I think he is, and hopefully we can start to see some higher levels. Like I said, things have been a little bit stale in terms of high scores, and honestly, if not for the Melanistic like 4 hunts ago, we would be on the dry spell of all dry spells on any grind that we've ever done. Now that's already looking a little better. It is just the kind of similar to level 9 rack level 7. 210 to 255, actually a decent estimate. And that has been a thing that we've been doing in the last couple of hunts. When we've seen this rack on the level 7s and 8s, I've been screenshotting it to just kind of keep track and try to understand the scoring differences between them and the level 9s. Unfortunately, no level 9s with that particular rack to compare. Maybe today will be the day for that. It's definitely been a while since we've seen any, and I gotta think we're about due for one. Gotta appreciate the improvement anyway. Our first lake had a couple of 5s, and at least this lake had the max weight estimate level 7, so hopefully things continue in that direction. Now, of course, we are trying to kind of be as efficient as possible before dark, so we're going to be just trying to hop from lake to lake here. Well, similar level, and actually, I guess in some way similar rack. One of the sides is the same. The other side, though, really does not match, and there was a level 7, not with that particular rack, but a similar one, and I mentioned really not wanting to ever have a rare that looked like that, because that would just kind of be devastating, and that's definitely another example of a rack that I prefer not to see on a rare. And that seems to be a thing as there's a level 4 down on that end. Rares like to be just wonky, uneven racks, and I don't know. If I ever did find another good sized rare red deer and it looked like that, I'm not sure that I'd even mount it. It would just be frustrating, but in this case, it's just a common, so nothing to worry about. I mean, that's one way to kind of hide the fact that it's not the best looking stag, just kind of died in the brush there. And you know, I think I did a pretty good job of making some mismatched red deer racks that work. our Piebald Mythical, which I tend to bring up a lot, I guess it's the only significant rare stag we've ever shot, it's uneven and kind of barely noticeable, and there are a lot of kind of minor variations in some of those racks, but unfortunately some that end up getting kind of paired together just don't really work, and that is one of them. And to go with that, just a little level 4 96 score. Couldn't even crack into triple digits, but anyway, that is going to be our, I guess, second to last lake for this particular area. A few more stags than I'm used to, so I guess that's a good problem to have, losing track of which lake we're on, but generally, at least in the morning, they're kind of just right here, and that looks to be the case again. The odd thing is, though, they've evidently spooked. I'm not sure why. Now, we did kind of adjust the setup a little bit, but the tent placement should still be the same, and that should mean that we shouldn't be spawning any closer to the red deer themselves, so we got that one on the run. I was thinking I saw another one down there as it was fleeing. Man, they're really good at getting into the water and floating over. We're lucky that didn't just happen, but I don't see the others, so maybe we'll check for tracks. Maybe they'll be trying to come back by the time we get over there, but honestly, we're lucky we got one there. Lucky in a couple of ways. I mean, he had to go another, I don't know, half his body length, and it probably would have been enough into the water to float over there, so luckily we could just kind of run around and do things at our pace. And now we are officially through these lakes, so I think we are going to go and do the area along the river. It can be annoying, and actually, this was a part of our kind of setup adaptation. They've all moved right down here to this bridge, and we've been using the tripod and have been able to avoid having to run the entire thing. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case for the evening zones, but as long as they are up here, which I see a couple of red deer kind of in the trees, that would kind of be ideal, so we don't have to try to spot them all through here in the dark. I don't see nearly the amount I would expect to, though. There is one over there, so I guess we'll go ahead and try to get him. And sort of the adventure of trying to hunt them at a different time, I guess, is exploring the entire area. So there's been consistently 4 or 5 stags just right in here, and I've got to think they're drinking in this stretch, so we'll go give it a look. So much for checking this area in the light. We're pretty well out of all that, but there are at least 2 stags here. Not exactly special stags, and not exactly the easiest shots to make, but I certainly don't mind attempting a brain shot, and I believe that should be what we made on that. I don't even know what he was. I'm pretty sure a level 5. He's laying there dead, so we must have got him. And it's been so long since I've actually had to run the river. They've moved over towards that bridge and just stayed there. I think there's another zone somewhere up in here. I kind of thought we'd be able to see it by now, but even if there's not, that would be 3 stags in this area, and I could be satisfied knowing that we went through and got a good number anyway. As for our level 5, it actually was an upper neck shot, but unfortunately we got the skull, and had he actually been a gold or something we wanted to keep the score on, that would not have been good enough. And then our level 6 just was a single lung shot. Now we're getting pretty close to where we could see the bridge. There are of course some red deer running here, but I think they're all the hinds from that same zone. So I guess we've seen all the ones that are here, at least for the evening zone, which is at least good to be thorough. And I think that means we can move on to our next spot. It is now time, unfortunately, to switch to the night vision binoculars, but the first thing we see with them is at least a decent stag. He's got another decent one beside him. Now, I believe, because this one is a little bit under 200 meters, we should be able to shoot him first, and I'm going to guess the 7 is not going to spook from that. We're still going to kind of go quickly. Yeah, he's just calm and not going anywhere, so no need to rush that shot. Both are going to be double lungs and not going that far. And this definitely is an instance of hunting the late zones, showing something very different than the morning zones. And of course, we just saw that back at the river as well. But I've not had really more than 1 stag over here ever in the morning, and quite often none. They're usually down on either the south or west side of the lake. And right here, there's just 2 right outside our tent, basically. And not only were both shots probably double lung, both shots resulted in a dead red deer essentially in the same place. a 185 scoring level 7 that was a double lung shot, and actually, oddly enough, the 6 was just single lung. I'm not sure, he would have had to run farther to get to this point, so I guess it was as simple as that, but in the long run, it definitely worked out in our favor. I've got to say, I am a little bit disappointed that it's gone this way and not the reverse. I was really hoping to essentially see something like this by hunting at night. We've got a actually nervous level 9 red deer, 222 to 268, and I think he was just kind of over there in the trees. Usually, when we spawn at this area, the red deer are over there where that level 7 was, so I just never looked over there, and then saw a level 9 run off. I had pretty well all but given up on the night zones and just ran through in the daylight looking for basically something to, kind of make it feel like we're making progress again. We hadn't seen any good-sized red deer in quite some time, and I still think it does kind of illustrate the point that you do need to check your day and night zones. It's just, I was kind of hoping for it to go the other way around and to see the hopefully big one in the nighttime, but unfortunately it was a daylight find, and I guess the good news is we got to see him good, and we'll get to get a good look at him when we were over there and take a look. We were able to heart shot him, and I've got to wonder, there's kind of subtle differences between the biggest rack and I guess the smaller version of that rack that control, and because he was mostly broadside, I couldn't tell which it was. I think it was the bigger rack, which should guarantee a diamond, but I'm not certain of that. So a quick stop to grab our level 7 here, a 197.4 scoring stag. And full transparency, by the way, I had actually attempted to wrap up the video in the nighttime zones. It's felt so off. I was simply coming back out here kind of, similar to the whitetail great one where I was just hunting, not necessarily intending to make content, and then a level 3 showed up. Unfortunately this time, no level 10 to follow. Now, I don't see split brows, so this should be a guaranteed diamond red deer. And he is actually at 266.9. Not our biggest, I thought we had a couple of 267s, but our first max weight diamond. Now that's definitely a good sign. He actually is very wide as well. Must be where he's getting that extra score from. I don't even know that I can get him in the screenshot there. We've never, over getting close to 5 years of Call of the Wild, and of course red deer have been in the game the entire time, had a max weight red stag. So that's actually kind of cool. Cool little accomplishment to get on our way here. And yeah, we're gonna head back actually to the trophy lodge and go and take a look at that, and also compare and make sure that we did have a couple of 267s, but I'm pretty confident that there were a few, and there were actually 2 red stags that scored over that 267 mark, a 0.1 and 0.3 up there, so I guess that would have been our 3rd biggest red stag. And like I said, still kind of cool to get that max weight, but as I was kind of saying, I had intended on wrapping up that video, and quite honestly, I was left still feeling rather confused about the fact that we just hadn't seen any big red stags in a while, so that was encouraging to get a good one, and just nice to kind of come back out, continue doing a run, and actually find something to add to this video. And yeah, unfortunate it worked out like that we ended up shooting him in the daylight, but that's kind of just the way things go, and I guess it does still kind of demonstrate the point. It's worth checking both the morning and evening zones, just unfortunately in that case, the diamond came in the morning zone. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.